All right, welcome back, everybody. Episode 40. We got to 40 episodes. This is amazing. Can't thank you guys enough. This is awesome. We are going to have a good recap episode. It's going to be mainly college. NFL was left a lot to be desired this Sunday. Was not great, but we've got great college. We have some incredible college coaching news. Some great games. We had almost upsets, teams who just couldn't finish, teams uh, couldn't finish a game, really. That was the case for a lot of these teams who were attempting to upset. And yeah, we had a good week. It was a good week. Not our best for just college, but it was a good week for sure, and definitely an exciting one as well. But let's jump right into it. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm 3-0 on these coaching firings. Brian Kelly has been fired from LSU. They negotiated a buyout of only just $30 million. Being a fired football coach is the best job in the world. I'm going to go ahead. I mean, everybody knows that. You get paid millions of dollars to do nothing. But I saw it coming. I think we all saw it coming. I think a lot of us who were not believers in Brian Kelly saw it from the beginning. You all knew he was not the right fit. No one believed he was the right fit. All he really cared about this entire time he was at LSU was the money. He never bought into the state of Louisiana. He never bought into being a true believer in the SEC. He just thought, I've won at Notre Dame. I'm going to go and implement the same things and the same personality I have at Notre Dame and coaching style at LSU. And I mean, you won 9 games, 9, 10 games each year. I mean, I'll give you credit. It worked for a while. It did. And until it didn't. And when it didn't, it got bad. And I mean, if you follow me on Instagram, follow me again, yard by yard. I had a instant reaction on my Instagram story about it. I'm going to keep doing that for things like this, possibly games as well. But huge, huge for University of Louisiana. I think this is a win for them, Louisiana State University. I think this is a win for them by a mile. You get rid of the guy who sucks. No one liked him. You can't keep a guy on your staff as your head coach for another year when you know no one likes him in the building and none of the coaches, none of the head officials. The Louisiana governor, because LSU is an interim president at the moment, came in and made this decision. He was the one driving this decision. That's college football in a nutshell. The governor of the state came in and said, I can't have any of this anymore. Let's fire this guy. I'll pay it right now. It is one of the most probably it's like a lot of people are happy. People are happy, and mainly LSU fans are happy, and I think you should be happy because look, he wasn't your guy. Look, he did win you a lot of games. You beat Alabama that first year. There was electric, but he didn't fit the culture. He never bought in. He from Josh Pate. Go listen to Josh Pate. He did a great just analysis of the entire thing and kind of dropped a lot of tidbits about what he had heard around the LSU program since Kelly got in there. In the offseason, Kelly just goes to the beach and chills. He doesn't work the transfer portal. He's not working recruits. Those are his assistants. Those are his offensive coordinators, defensive coordinators that are going out and recruiting these guys. Brian Kelly's not doing any of it. And he's also just a piece of shit. Like, you could tell every single thing that went bad, he was like, what's wrong? Like, getting pissed at every single guy. Which, yes, college football coaches, you're a football coach. You get mad at coaches. But for him, it was just like, it was adding gasoline to the fire. Like, everyone already hates you. And every single time something bad would happen, the camera pans to you and you are caught on a video just ripping into a coach. And, dude, everyone can read your lips really clearly, Brian Kelly. So, what a. I mean, I'm 3-0 on these. The next one to fall is Hugh Freeze, and he's going to fall. It's probably going to be this week. I am shocked that they did it at this moment. Earlier in the season, I said, okay, well, I think you got to get rid of him. You got to get rid of him. But then when all these openings started to happen, I'm like, well, you can't, because who are you going to get? And that's the situation that LSU goes into now, which they are now the top team. You are the top opening by a wide margin to be head coaching. So everyone's going to be calling your name. I think first three off the rip, Lane Kiffin, Eli Drinkowitz, Dan Lanning. Those are the three that LSU are going to go after. And I think you also throw in Brent Key there with Georgia Tech, Summerall there with Tulane, and Joe Brady. Joe Brady's name is going to be mentioned a lot. We're going to see his name mentioned a lot here because of the success he had as an offensive assistant and passing game coordinator at LSU in 2019. We're going to see Joe Brady around here a lot. I think you got to back up the truck for Lane Kiffin. You have to. He fits that place really well. He's already proven that he can fit in the South. He's doing great things at Ole Miss. This is just another step up where, look, he has a lot of resources at Ole Miss, but you have so much more money and so much more additional kind of just support from the outside and the boosters at Ole Miss. Like they're going to go, I mean, at LSU, they're going to go all in. They're going to go all in. They won't care about any other sport. They're going to care about your sport. They're going to go all in. But just crazy. And now, I mean, for a team like Virginia Tech, for a team like Arkansas, for a team like UCLA, you now get yourself into a shitty position, which, it's not your fault. I mean, well, for Arkansas, you should have fired Pittman after last year. But it's already a thin head coaching search. And now you get into a position where you're kind of fucked. Like you're now dealing with the situation here where there are way too many good job openings compared to the qualified coaches who should be D1 head coaches. Like, especially for the SEC, for a team like Arkansas and, in the ACC, a premier team like Virginia Tech. Like, this is a weird situation. Like, I mean, Florida is still up there too. Florida's a very coveted job, but if the coach can go and prove he can win, it's just going to be interesting. This is going to be such an interesting head coaching search. This is going to be the wildest head coaching search that we have ever seen in all of college football. I don't think there's going to be one that's going to be able to rival this. I've got something to say about Brian Kelly. This is just one stat that I just wanted to end this off of with Brian Kelly. His tenure has been a disaster. Brian Kelly is now 5-11 against ranked teams in 3.5 seasons. In 3.5 seasons at LSU, he finished 5-11 against 8 teams. Insane. Insane. At LSU to have that be your record against ranked teams says it enough why you should be fired. And we now go into a just insane head coaching carousel, and it's going to be one incredibly fun to watch. But let's dive right into the games here, segueing into the night game. We're going to go chronological order here because we've been talking about Brian Kelly and LSU. A&M 49, LSU 25. Holy shit. Biggest takeaway, A&M is legit. I mean, it's been brewing for a while. A lot of people have been, bringing them up because they haven't been talked about as much, but a lot of good wins back to back to back if you are A&M. Marshall Reed's been playing out of his mind. In the passing game, he was 2 for 2. I mean, in the passing game, he had 202 yards, 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. And rushing the ball, he ran the ball 13 times, had 108 yards and 2 touchdowns. This A&M team not only is a very good defensive team, which is what we expected to see under Mike Elko, their offense is now hitting at every single level, and it's a very dangerous thing to see if you are an SEC team, because they are in the driver's seat now for the SEC championship. It is going to be them and Alabama, unless Texas A&M. You got Texas A&M. You have South Carolina, Missouri, Samford, and Texas in the season. I think if you lose any game, it would be Texas, but also Texas doesn't look good. They don't. So I don't think you have any big issues or threats here going towards the end of the season. I think they're a lock for the college football playoff already, and they are a lock for the SEC championship. Now, LSU, on the other hand, bad. Nussmeier, bad. Nussmeier, you should have left last year. You cost yourself millions of dollars for not leaving last year when you should have. He was 22 of 35 with only 168 yards in this game with 1 touchdown. They just weren't good. I mean, it's just been the story of LSU the entire season, and the offense is terrible. And it's not just the play calling, but it's the execution as well. And the biggest takeaway of this offense not being good has been the running game not being there. But more importantly, it's been Garrett Nussmeier not being there. Garrett Nussmeier has not been a Heisman candidate, number one pick quarterback that he was projected going into the season. He has been way beneath that. He has not been anything close to that. And I don't know what it is. I mean, there were a lot of rumors about him being hurt, but hey, you would think if he's hurt, then you take him out at some point. But they keep leaving him in, and he keeps just playing worse and worse every single game. Yeah, he's not playing good. This LSU offense is not playing great. If you're LSU, now you go into a game against Alabama in a couple weeks where, you're hoping maybe we can get a break here with Brian Kelly being fired. Everyone hates him. Now you have Frank Wilson being the interim, who's been a guy at LSU a lot of people love. Are you going to get guys who are going to play harder for him? And are you going to surprise the team? Are you going to upset at Alabama? I you could see it. I mean, there's talent all over the field, but it's just the execution of this talent. And if LSU comes out and they rattle off wins in this season and end on a high note, that is huge for whoever is this next head coach at LSU. And it's also a slap in the face of Brian Kelly to be like, these guys hated your fucking guts, dude. That this is how good they're playing when you're gone. So huge game for A&M, driver's seat now in the SEC. Yeah, LSU. Let's see what you can do here after firing your head coach. Next game, we're gonna go back to 11 a.m. Ole Miss 31, Oklahoma 26. This game, I will say, I was at the Arkansas-Auburn game. Tough loss. No, they were 34-26. Tough game for the Hogs. Bad game for the Hogs. But we'll get into this game. Ole Miss, you've now put yourself also, I think, firmly in the college football playoff. You just can't lose any more this season. I think you'll be okay. You got Mississippi State, which is going to be a tough game to end the season in Starkville because Mississippi State is just a frisky team. But you've got yourself there, not in the SEC championship talk anymore, I don't think. But you definitely have yourself here in college football playoff. There are two SEC teams we can pencil them in now, and that's Texas A&M and Ole Miss in that playoff. Now, top performers. Trinidad Chambliss continues to just impress me every single week. The kind of D3, D2 transfer, he's been great. He was 24 of 44 in this game, 315 yards, only one touchdown, but the 315 yards were great. Kyron Lacey had, no, not Kyron Lacey, RIP Kyron Lacey, Kawan Lacey. Yeah, RIP Kyron Lacey, he's a beast. Had 2 touchdowns and 26 attempts for 78 rushing yards. And Winston Watkins here for Ole Miss had 4 receptions for 111 yards in the passing game. The passing game was playing great, and what they did was they really put it to this Oklahoma defense that has been playing great all year. It's an Oklahoma defense that has ranked some of the top in the country, for sure top in the SEC in their production on the field and, allowing points per game against offenses. But you have John Mateer here on the other side who I think John Mateer really rushed coming back. I think he rushed coming back in that Texas game, and I think this has thrown off his season. I think this has thrown off how productive that he's been. He was 17 for 31 this game, 223 yards and a touchdown. Yeah, he just doesn't look himself. He's not looking what we saw earlier in the season. I really do think this is just him. He came back way too fast. I think he rushed it. He should have given it more time. He really should have just, you go into Texas, you let Michael Hawkins go in, and you let him, put up a fight, and then you lose that game, but you got 1 loss of the season. You're okay. The main important thing is you get John Mateer, who's able to get more healthy and fully recover so you can win games like this towards the end of the season. And now you're in a tough situation where you got 2 losses. You can't lose anymore. And you have a very, very tough schedule. Oklahoma now goes to Tennessee this week. Then they go to Alabama. Then they're home against Missouri. Then they're home against LSU. That could very easily be 4 straight losses right there. I think you win at least 2. I think you can beat Tennessee. I think you can beat Missouri and LSU, but Tennessee looks great, and Alabama looks like one of the best teams in the country right now, which I'll get to them and their inconsistencies in a little bit. But Yeah, it doesn't look good for Oklahoma, and it's not really looking good for Brent Venables. And if Brent Venables wants to save his job, he needs to rattle off wins at the end of the season and try to, fight for a spot to sneak into the playoffs if all chaos happens. But right now, if you're Oklahoma, it's not looking good to be in the playoffs. It isn't. And it just isn't looking good regardless on your team. Your defense, that is one of the best defenses in the entire conference, got cooked this game. You did. You didn't play great. So we can pencil in Ole Miss, great win. Are you going to see Lane Kiffin leave? I don't know. I could very well see him staying, and their Ole Miss is just going to give him the biggest raise that we have ever seen. Oklahoma, I I'm just worried about you. I'm worried about you, Oklahoma. I'm worried about Brent Venables because I think he's a good coach defensively, but he doesn't like to talk about offense. He doesn't like to handle the offense. But you're the head coach, man. You gotta take some responsibility there. All right, next game we have Alabama escapes with a 29-22 win over South Carolina. This game infuriated me because this is just a typical game that we see from Alabama once every year. A game that they are supposed to lose. A game they are supposed to lose by like they were it seemed like they were outgained in this game, honestly. I'm actually going to pull up the box score to look at this with the yardage. Okay, they were outgained by like 8 yards, but they were outgained. I mean, this was a God. I mean, this was honestly a pretty even game if you kind of look at it. I mean, the only yardage mark that South Carolina beat them in by a wide margin was the rushing the ball with 111 to 72. But this was just a collapse from South Carolina. A South Carolina team who has been struggling. You get a chance here at home to really like potentially spoil Alabama's season here because if you beat Alabama here, they're not a lock for the SEC championship anymore, and you have to win out against a kind of a tough schedule that Alabama has. You have LSU with now our interim coach now, and you still have Auburn, which Auburn not great, but is benching Jackson Dart after this week the move to do, and is the Auburn team going to start playing better around Ashton Daniels to back up at quarterback? But South Carolina collapsed. They really did. Lenora Sellers was 18 of 32, 222 yards, one touchdown, one interception, and he had the horrible fumble at the end of the game. You just hold on to the ball there, man. Like, it's not that hard. Hold on to the ball. Lenore Sellers, he also led the team rushing with 18 attempts, 67 yards, and a touchdown. Nick Harbor led receiving with 54-yard touchdown catch. That was his only catch of the game. I don't know how they're not getting the ball to him even more. Ty Simpson, he played a great game. He did. He was 24 of 43, 253 yards and 2 touchdowns. Bernard, it's crazy that Jermarnie Bernard led the game in rushing because Jam Miller was, not playing his best and a little bit injured. Ran the ball 3 yards for 23. Ran the ball 3 attempts for 23 yards and a touchdown. And he led the way for Alabama on the rushing, which is kind of crazy to see, honestly. Actually, no, Jam Miller ran the way. CBS giving me bad stats here. But yeah, I mean, this was a good game from South Carolina. You played your hearts out, but you collapsed. You had this game in the hands. You were going to win this game. You were going to beat Alabama, put a damper on their season, but you give it away. And if you're Alabama, this was a letdown game for you. This was a scheduled letdown game that Alabama has. I wasn't surprised that the game was like this because South Carolina usually plays teams like this really tough. Wasn't really shocked, but I still am confident that I think Alabama is one of the best teams in the country. I now agree with the rankings. I don't think they're third. I think they're definitely top 5 for sure. I think 4 is a perfect spot for Alabama right now because when they do play their best, they look like, potentially the best team in the country. And we definitely could see that from them on any, given day with how well they are playing at this moment, except for this game. They fell short this game, but offensively for sure. And they, weren't able to really, put it all together here. But you win it. You win it. So Alabama, you escape one. South Carolina, this is tough. Shane Beamer is the talk now, just getting big for Shane Beamer going to Virginia Tech to take over for his dad. I don't know. I don't know if he's a guy. I if I'm Virginia Tech, I wouldn't be backing up the trucks for him. What all at South Carolina has he proven? Not a lot. He's either started the year off really good and then collapsed, or started the year off really bad and then ended up pretty good. So I don't know. It's kind of a weird situation there, but that's going to be an interesting one to watch as well. But um, tough loss for South Carolina, Alabama. You escaped with one here. Next game, final game. This game was a roller coaster of a ride. Texas comes back, beat Mississippi State in overtime, 45-38. The Brandon Walker game. If anyone knows my reference, it's a pretty good reference. Holy shit, man! How do you give this game up if you're Mississippi State? Mississippi State led at one point. I believe it was 31-17. I believe, yeah, it was 31-17. They were up in the third quarter. It looks like everything is going your way. You are about to beat Texas. You're going to get this statement win that we have been seeing. We've been waiting to see from Jeff Lebby and Mississippi State all season, because Mississippi State has been this team that have been flirting with upsets all year. You took Tennessee to overtime. You almost beat Florida. Now you have a major lead on Texas at home in a game where Texas is not playing great on offense. The offensive line is getting dismantled. Arch Manning throws a bad interception at the end of the first half that you convert into points. Everything's looking great. Blake Shapen throws for 381 yards and 4 touchdowns in this game. Blake Shapen, excuse me, Blake Shapen was great in this game. On the other side of the ball, Arch did not play horrible either. When the game started, yeah, he wasn't playing great, but I think that mainly was the offensive line. We've been able to see it time and time again. This offensive line for Texas is I think, it's just a major problem for them, and has been the main problem. Honestly, if you talk to Texas fans, yeah, everyone's going to bring up Arch not playing that very well, but Arch is running for his life and getting hit so much. Okay, Arch is getting killed in this game, so Arch had 346 yards and 3 touchdowns and an interception. Now he did go out at the end of the game. They said it's an upper body injury, but it really looked like a concussion on TV. He got hit really hard. But look, I mean, the story of this game is just, how does Mississippi State and Jeff Lebby allow this collapse? You're up so much, and your defense, you just start playing scared and kind of just letting them do everything. Ryan Wingo was the highlight receiver for Texas in this game with 5 receptions for 184 yards. Yeah, it's just a shocker. It really is, because it was a shocker seeing Texas play this very bad, but at the same time, like, is this really a shocker? Because we have seen Texas be very inconsistent this season. And then I kind of was feeling validated about my thoughts about Mississippi State, because I have thought throughout the season that Mississippi State is a frisky team, a team that can play some really good ball when they need to. Can they close out with a big win against a quality opponent? No, you couldn't close it out. And it's one of the biggest collapses, probably the biggest collapse we have seen so far this season in college football. And I don't think Jeff Lebby's job should be in question, but there probably are conversations after blowing a lead like this. You have a position to be 5-3 going into this week. Now you're 4-4, and playoffs, I mean, not playoffs. Bowl game's looking tough. A bowl game would be great for Mississippi State. But man, that's a brutal one, because you got everything going your way in this game, and then it all just collapsed. It all just collapsed. Texas, you're somehow still alive. I don't know how, but you are. But yeah, I mean, just a collapse for Mississippi State. Just really a collapse. Great win for Texas. Hope Arch is okay. What a way to come back and win this game, mainly in the passing game. I mean, that 346 yards from Arch is not really getting talked about a lot, and I think it should, because I think he played great when he needed it most in this game. He didn't play great early, but he turned it on late and started playing really good. So great win for Texas. I just cannot believe that Mississippi State blew this loss. I can't believe it. All right, that is college. Now we're going to go into NFL. Told you it'll be a little shorter episode because didn't really get much in the NFL this week. First off, I just want to say the Steelers jerseys stink. Why are you wearing jerseys that are honoring a team from 1933? We shouldn't honor any jersey that is younger than, I don't know, 1960, because that's when 1960 below, it was bad. It was really bad. The jerseys were horrible. You had the mustard brown and blue circle jerseys for the Packers. You had the just straight up brown jerseys the Broncos have. You have these atrocities that the Steelers wore last night. It just didn't like this was a fun game, the only fun game we kind of had all day, and it made it not feel as special because you're wearing bumblebee vertical jerseys, just some of the worst jerseys I've seen. Horrible. I mean, the bumblebee striped going horizontal, that's even better than this one, the vertical grain with the bumblebee. I mean, you look like you're wearing soccer uniforms. I didn't like it at all. I didn't like it. Let's jump right into that game. We're going to go chronological again because we're talking about it at the top. We're going to go back to it. Packers 35, Steelers 25. Only good game. Only good game of the day. Every other game sucked. I thank these two teams for giving us a great game. Jordan Love was definitely the player of this game with 3 touchdowns and 360 yards. And Tucker Kraft on National Tight Ends Day yesterday, which we got to stop hyping that up as much. Look, I mean, they say tight ends don't get a lot of love. They get a ton of love, bro. We can stop talking about National Tight Ends Day, okay? We can start making it, let's talk National Fullbacks Day, okay? National Nose Guard Day. We don't talk about those guys. They do the dirty work. Their face in the ground every day. Okay, talk about those guys. National Long Snapper Day. Okay, I want to hear us talk about the long snappers. National Punter Day. Pat McAfee, I'm sure your annoying ass could get behind that. I mean, why not? Why don't we? Little rant. Yeah, Tucker Kraft, 2 touchdowns and 7 receptions and 143 yards was really good. Aaron Rodgers, he played good. 219 yards with 2 touchdowns. Jalen Warren with 62 yards on 13 attempts. Not what you usually see from the rushing game. But really the story of this game was the the Steelers getting in third and long. They were not able to do anything because their offensive line couldn't block this pass rush of the Packers. And it's not like we're looking at the pass rush of the Packers being like this is a tremendous, huge, incredible. I'm talking like Trump here. Huge, it's incredible. I can't believe we're not talking about this defensive line like they are, the Broncos or the Browns or someone like that. They're not. You got Micah Parsons and Rashawn Gary. That's it. You traded away Kenny Clark, who was good. You don't have anything else. It confuses me how they were able to be so successful against an offensive line in the Steelers who's been successful and had some good players on their team. I think a lot of this was just coverage sacks, and I think what's being underrated here is the secondary for the Green Bay Packers, and I mean they played great in this game. Like I say, I think a lot of these were coverage sacks. I mean Aaron Rodgers is quick to get the ball out of his hands, but he was holding on to it a lot, especially in the third down and long plays. And it didn't help either that they were just not able to run the ball really well here in this game. You could see them running it a little bit in the fourth quarter of this game, and they were able to have some success. But since that point, there was really nothing. There really was. For the Packers, this is a great win, and you get to solidify yourself there as one of the top teams in the NFC. You had some people, questioning you. I was questioning them a little bit, but I think this was a good game to kind of, shut up a lot of people who are, still questionable about some things. I think Jordan Love's still playing great, and this really, shirred up a lot of things about the defense too. And the defense has shown that, when they need to make a play, they definitely can, and they definitely did in this game. All right, let's go back. This game, let's talk about for a little bit. I mean, literally, the games were so bad that this was the one of the highlight. This is the only highlight 11 inning game I could talk about, and it's the Jets. It's the Jets 39, Bengals 38. Yeah, that's kind of all I'm really going to say about it. This game was gross in the first half, but in the second half it was pretty exciting. Mainly on the Jets side because Aaron Glenn was just like, fuck it, I'm just going to go for two. And we were like, why are you doing this? And it worked. It worked for him. They were able to win this game, and they won. The touchdown pass was off a Breece Hall throwaway that Mason Taylor made an incredible catch at. So Maybe Brees Hall should be the quarterback of the Jets because Woody Johnson just hates Justin Fields, even though that's the guy you paid millions of dollars to. Woody Johnson, the worst owner of all of sports, so not surprising there. Yeah, that's kind of all I got. I mean, the Bengals defense sucks and historical, giving up 500 yards to the New York Jets. You gave up 500 yards to the New York Jets. That is all I really need to say at that point. But yeah, that's it in that game. Yeah, Jets won. Jets got a first win. Also RIP Nick Mangold. That sucks. That guy was awesome. Just an incredible offensive lineman, an incredible guy. I mean, you've seen the amount of impacts he's been able to make on people's lives since he in football and since he's been out of football. Really speaks to how true, how great of a guy that he was. R.I.P. Nick Mangold. All right, next, last game. I'm going to talk about it, Cowboys fans. How about them Broncos, huh? Big game. Broncos 44, Cowboys 24. The Broncos did exactly what I wanted them to do all season. This is the happiest I've felt about a Broncos team in a game in a while because they did everything I've been looking for this team to do all year. You start off with a bad Bo Nix pick six that is just way behind Pat Bryant, which is not great. But then you get right back to it. Defense gets a stop in the red zone, hold them to a field goal, and offense is just firing on all cylinders. Bo Nix here today in this game was 19 of 29, 247 yards, 4 touchdowns, and that 1 interception. J.K. Dobbins has just continued to be just an incredible running back and a great pickup for the Broncos in the run game here. Now, granted, the Cowboys do have a limited secondary and defense. They have worst ranking defense in the league statistically. J.K. Dobbins had 15 attempts for 111 yards, and Troy Franklin led the day here with on the receivers. He had 2 touchdowns on 6 receptions and 89 yards. Just a really good game here from the Broncos offensively. This didn't feel like a game that the defense just had to keep us in it and win the game for this entire time. Finally, I mean, that was just an amazing feeling to have to be able to see Bo. I mean, I said it last week, Bo has not been the problem. He hasn't. Bo has been great. It has been the offensive play calling. And in this game, it really felt like they took the handcuffs off of Bo, and Sean was like, go do your thing, man. Just go kick ass, and I'm going to watch you kick ass. And he did. And a lot of that helping, too, was the run game getting involved. Not only was J.K. Dobbins involved, R.J. Howard had a hat trick. 2 rushing touchdowns, 1 catching touchdown. I bet we're going to see him pass for a touchdown sometime this season because he was a quarterback. They talk about it so much about how he was a quarterback at Virginia when he started. The Cowboys, on the other hand, your defense stinks. You got to get it taken care of. Dak, 188 yards, 0 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. Devontae Williams, 13 rushes for 2 touchdowns, 41 yards. George Pickens, 7 receptions, 78 yards. You played against the best defense in the NFL. So that's going to happen. And the Cowboys on the road versus the Cowboys at home are very two different teams. They're averaging like almost half of what they do at the road. So, something the Cowboys really need to work on the offensive side of the ball. I do think Brian Schottenheimer is a good coach, and I do think he's going to be good for the Cowboys in the long run. I think you just need to get some defensive help. I mean, if the defense stepped up in this game, there was a point here where this was a 13-point game, and if the Broncos didn't go down and score and get some points, it would have been a more interesting game because, the Cowboys offense was moving the ball. They really were. Dak's picks were just not great. That's something, it's definitely his worst game of the year, but he's still been putting up MVP numbers this year. So I'm not going to change my tune on him. He's been playing great, and I'm going to stand by that. He has been playing great, and I think he still should be in that MVP conversation statistically, just because of how impressive he's been. So I'm very excited for the Broncos. Great win. But the bad thing is that now Patrick Surtain is out 4 to 6 weeks. Pec strain, don't like that. That's not good. Riley Moss is he's just not good. All Riley Moss does is just get defensive pass interferences. Chris Abrams' drain is very good. I think what we're now going to need to start doing is putting in Jahdae Barron more. Jahdae Barron, I don't know why we're not putting him, at that DB slot. Put him in that position and let him guard somebody. I think I think he'd be very effective. He's shown that he can in that nickel spot already when he comes in instead of Jalil or Jaquan McMillan. So I think you need to keep doing that if you are Vance Joseph in the defense here, because you're going to have to get creative because now, you don't have a bye. The Broncos don't have a bye until week 12, which I think is kind of crazy. We now go to Houston to play the Texans. The Texans team with their offense looked great last week. And then you play at home Thursday night against the Raiders. And then you got the big one before the bye, home against the Chiefs. So you've got, you're third in the AFC right now, top of the AFC West. You got to keep it going, but you got some tough games in front of you before this bye week here. So get everybody healthy, and just great win. I'm excited. I'm very happy. Great win. Well, all right, everybody. That's the episode 40 of the Yard by Yard podcast. I appreciate all you guys listening. It's been a fun episode. I will get the preview and the preview and the picks episode on dropping on Thursday. We got some good games this week, and I'm excited for y'all to hear it. Once again, I appreciate everybody listening, and enjoy the football.